Hey guys. I had the misfortune on Twitter to come across Irish Twitter, which I've every so often interacted with during the Brexit years. I mean, they were pretty mental then. The extremes of any group normally are, and Twitter tends to attract the most extremes. Um, but I hadn't actually engaged with them in recent years. Um, and the only way I can describe them is completely and utterly mental. And I mean that like they are off the wall crazy. Um, I got introduced to a phrase by some friends in Northern Ireland, "mope," which is something that the Irish love to engage in. Most oppressed people ever. Um, and it appears that the war in Gaza has basically managed to create a mirror image for them in their minds with the Palestinians. Um, excuse me. Genocide, um, you know, war crimes, um, comparing Netanyahu to Hitler, accusing them of ethnic cleansing, accusing Britain of funding and arming the genocidal regime, and so much more. I mean, it's so mental that, to be honest, it's actually quite funny. However, the problem is it's not so funny because if you've looked at the news and anything else over the last year or two, you can see that the Irish elite have been wallowing in the same muddy shite hole as Twitter. Um, it's very worrying. I know that we shouldn't say it's very worrying. People shouldn't care about these things, and it's just Ireland and everything else. But I do think it's very worrying because it feels to me like the whole of Ireland at the moment seems to be undergoing some sort of psychotic event. It started probably, I don't know, so better play people better place than I, but it feels like a mixture of the death of the Catholic Church, Brexit, um, and just I don't know, wokeism seems to have basically turned the country completely and utterly mental. I mean, my own country or our own country, depending on where you are, of Britain is pretty mental. But to be honest, the Irish take the biscuit at the moment in terms of where they are. Um, I can't help but think that this break from reality that much of them are having is going to have very profound um, political repercussions for the island, particularly as or Ireland, um, well, the island of Ireland, particularly as the elites apparently have gone AWOL in terms of net mass migration, just as they have in Britain. So let's I'm not trying to say that we're any better than that. Um, and you can already see this weird interaction north and south of the border between Sinn Féin, the nationalists, migration, wokeism, and the Israeli Palestine question. And by the way, before anyone says anything, pro or minus, there are very good reasons to be both supportive of Israel and appalled at Israel, supportive of the Palestinians and appalled at the Palestinians over the historical conflict that's now been going on for 80 something years or whatever it is. So I have no problem with people saying that they want to take a pro-Palestinian position. I have no problem with people who say they want to take an Israeli position, but you should be able to have some sort of rational discussion about it and be able to reach for facts that make sense, and that people, you should be able to, in any situation, you should be able to look at your own side if you've taken a side and go, I support them, but they've done X, Y, Z wrong. And you're not seeing that in Ireland at all. in actual fact, I think you're seeing more of a semblance of self-analysis actually within the Palestinian cause and the Israeli cause more than you are in Ireland. They appear to be completely and utterly lost in their own moral certitude in relation to this subject and everything else. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. I find it very alarming, as I said, because I think it will have long-term repercussions. But I actually also, on top of that, and I think this is something that I never thought that I would say, I actually found myself quite sullied, dirtied by some of the commentary and interactions that were pushed in my way, and I didn't even respond to most of them. There are some real unpleasant people there. There are unpleasant people in every country. I let's not think, but it seems to be, and there it seems to be an utter cesspit. It is not anti-Israeli. It is anti-Semitic, because you can see it in the way they just talk about, how Jews control things and everything else. And again, you can sit there and have discussions about these things. You can talk about, with complete validity. For example, the lobby group AIPAC in the United States. You can even talk about the different groups in Parliament in Britain or any other country, but not like that. That's literally people just basically going, the Jews control it all, like real. It's very, very unpleasant. It's really quite made me feel quite. I didn't want to. I ended up muting most of the conversations and muting a lot of the people. I feel very sorry for anyone that has to swim in that sea. That makes you, made me want to just turn it off. Anyway, bye bye.